Picture this. You open the freezer after a long day, grab a bag of peas, toss them into a pot, and dinner's on the table in 5 minutes. It feels almost too easy, right? But here's something that might genuinely surprise you. Those little green spheres sitting in your freezer could be doing a whole lot more for your body than you've ever given them credit for. A 2023 review published through the National Institutes of Health found that legumes like peas are consistently linked to lower rates of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and even certain cancers across large population studies. And yet, for millions of people, peas are just a side dish, something that gets pushed to the edge of the plate. Life can be busy, right? We don't always stop to think about what's actually in the food we eat. So today, that changes. Welcome. In today's video, we're going deep on one of the most underestimated vegetables in the produce aisle, the humble green pea. We'll walk through the science, explore the real benefits that research actually supports, and also be honest about the situations where peas might not be the best choice for everyone, because balance matters, and you deserve the full picture. Let's start with why peas even deserve this conversation. Botanically speaking, peas, Pisum sativum, are actually a legume, not a vegetable in the strict sense, even though most of us treat them like one. That tiny distinction matters because it tells us something important about their nutritional profile. Legumes are nutritionally dense in a way that most vegetables simply aren't. A single cup of cooked peas delivers roughly 8 to 9 grams of protein, around 8 grams of dietary fiber, and meaningful amounts of vitamin C, K, and several B vitamins, particularly thiamine and folate. They also carry a range of phytonutrients, including carotenoids like lutein and zeaxanthin, and a group of polyphenols that researchers have been studying closely for their anti-inflammatory properties. Nature packs a lot in one bite, but balance matters, and we'll come back to that. Now let's get into the heart of this, the specific benefits, the honest caveats, and the science behind both. The first area worth understanding is plant-based protein and what it means for your body. Peas are one of the most protein-rich vegetables you can eat, and the type of protein matters. A 2024 meta-analysis published in the journal Nutrients found that plant proteins from legumes, including peas, were associated with improved satiety, meaning they help you feel fuller for longer, without the saturated fat load that comes with many animal protein sources. The protein in peas also contains a favorable amino acid profile, though it is not considered a complete protein on its own, meaning it lacks sufficient methionine. This is relevant for people who rely heavily on peas as a primary protein source. Research from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health notes that combining legumes with grains, rice for example, naturally fills in those amino acid gaps. So the benefit is real and well supported, and the limitation is manageable with a little variety in the diet. Studies show that for most people, peas contribute meaningfully to daily protein needs without any significant downside when eaten as part of a varied diet. The second area is fiber and digestive health, and this is where peas are particularly interesting, and also where the caveats start to matter. Peas contain both soluble and insoluble fiber. The soluble fiber feeds beneficial bacteria in the gut, what researchers call the microbiome, and a 2023 study in Frontiers in Microbiology linked regular legume consumption to greater microbial diversity, which is consistently associated with better overall gut health. The insoluble fiber supports bowel regularity and has been studied in relation to colorectal health, with NCBI data suggesting a potential protective association over the long term. Here's the honest side, though. For people with irritable bowel syndrome, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or other digestive sensitivities, peas, particularly in large amounts, can cause bloating, gas, and cramping. Peas contain fermentable carbohydrates known as FODMAPs, and the NCCIH acknowledges that high FODMAP foods, while healthy for most people, can trigger symptoms in sensitive individuals. Cooking peas thoroughly tends to reduce but not eliminate this effect, so the fiber benefit is well established, and so is the digestive caution for a specific subset of people. Third, let's talk about blood sugar and metabolic health.
This is one of the areas where peas consistently perform well in research. Despite containing natural sugars and starch, peas have a relatively low glycemic index, typically around 48 to 54, depending on preparation, meaning they raise blood glucose more slowly than many other starchy foods. A 2023 meta-analysis published in the British Journal of Nutrition, covering over 50,000 participants, found that regular legume consumption was associated with a 22% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes compared to low legume intake. Harvard Nutrition Source data from 2024 supports this, noting that the combination of fiber and protein in legumes helps blunt the blood sugar response after meals.
The caveat here is that processing matters significantly. Fresh or frozen peas retain this benefit well. Canned peas with added sugar or pea-based processed snacks may not carry the same glycemic advantage. Studies show that whole peas and minimally processed forms are consistently associated with better metabolic outcomes. Fourth, there's the topic of heart health and anti-inflammatory activity. Peas contain several compounds that research links to cardiovascular protection. The fiber content contributes to lowering LDL cholesterol, a finding supported by multiple NCI-BI meta-analyses. Peas also contain saponins, natural compounds that have been studied for their potential to reduce cholesterol absorption in the gut. Beyond that, the polyphenol content, particularly camphorol and quercetin, has been examined in several 2023 and 2024 studies for anti-inflammatory effects. One NCI-BI indexed trial from 2024 found that participants consuming legumes regularly showed meaningfully lower levels of C-reactive protein, a key inflammatory marker, compared to control groups. Now, the caveat. Peas are relatively high in purines, natural compounds that break down into uric acid in the body. For people with gout or a history of uric acid kidney stones, high intake of purine-rich foods can be problematic. The NCCIH notes that while legume purines are considered less problematic than those from animal sources, individuals managing gout are typically advised to monitor their intake. Studies show the cardiovascular benefits are consistent for the general population, while the uric acid consideration applies to a specific group. Fifth, and finally, let's look at micronutrients, vitamins and minerals, and one particularly important consideration around iron absorption. Peas are a useful source of non-heme iron, the form of iron found in plants. They also provide folate, which is critical for cell division and particularly important during pregnancy. The CDC and NCCIH both highlight folate-rich foods as part of prenatal nutrition guidance. Vitamin K in peas plays a role in bone metabolism and blood clotting regulation, and the B vitamins support energy metabolism at the cellular level. Here's the nuance, though. Peas, like many legumes, contain phytates and oxalates, compounds that can bind to minerals like iron, zinc, and calcium and reduce how much the body actually absorbs. A 2023 NCI-BI review noted that while peas provide meaningful amounts of these minerals, bioavailability can be lower than from animal sources. Soaking, cooking, or pairing peas with vitamin C-rich foods can improve iron absorption, according to research. So the micronutrient benefit is genuine, and studies show it's optimized by thoughtful food pairing rather than eating peas in isolation. Now, stepping back and looking at everything together, what does the research actually tell us? Peas are genuinely well-studied, nutrient-dense food with consistent associations across heart health, blood sugar regulation, digestive support, and inflammation in large population studies. The caveats, digestive sensitivity in some people, uric acid concerns in gout, and reduced mineral bioavailability are real and worth knowing, but they apply to specific contexts rather than most people eating peas in reasonable amounts as part of a varied diet. Fruits, veggies, herbs, legumes, they're tools, not miracles, and variety is really the key word here. Studies show that dietary patterns matter far more than any single food. Peas, alongside other vegetables, whole grains, and diverse proteins, form a pattern that research consistently associates with better long-term health outcomes. No single food fixes everything, and no single food destroys everything either. The science is about patterns, context, and balance. That's what today's video has been about, giving you the real picture, grounded in what the research actually shows, so you can make informed choices that work for your own life and body. One quick note before you go. If you have a specific health condition, digestive issues, gout, kidney concerns, pregnancy, it's always worth talking to a healthcare provider or registered dietitian about how any food fits into your individual situation. That's not a disclaimer thrown in at the end. It genuinely matters. Now, here's a question for you. What's a fruit, vegetable, or food you've always eaten without really thinking about what's in it? Drop it in the comments. You might just inspire a future video. If today's breakdown was useful to you, a like helps this kind of fact-based content reach more people. And if you want to keep getting this kind of balanced, research-backed look at the foods we eat every day, subscribing keeps you in the loop. Links to the studies referenced today, Harvard Nutrition Source, NCIBI meta-analyses, NCCIH resources, are all in the description below. See you in the next one.